Braving overnight temps in the single digits, students lined up before the sun came up in Ames in anticipation of today's tip and another chance to witness another chapter of Hilton Magic written by their Cyclones. It's the number 8 Kansas Jayhawks and the number 13 Iowa State Cyclones. You're watching the Big 12 on ESPN. And we take a look at the Big 12 standings coming into today. One of these teams will emerge from this one with a 7-3 record in league play and possibly in first place in the best conference in basketball. Sold out crowd inside Hilton Coliseum, fantastic atmosphere alongside Fran Fraschilla. I'm Rich Hollenberg. So Kansas comes in winners of 2 straight. They have been led all season long by Jalen Wilson, who is on a historic run over the last 5.
Yes, he is, and he's a National Player of the Year candidate. 13 times he's gone over 20, 38 is career high, obviously. And like so many of Bill Self's upperclassmen, Abaji, Azubuike, Mason, Ellis, he's risen to the occasion as their best player.
Later on tonight, you're going to hear from the Cameron Crazies, but today in Ames, it's all about Cyclone Alley. Ready to go in another top 15 tilt in the Big 12. Your officials, Ray Natili, Antonio Petty, and Brooks Wells. And the home team in white, Iowa State, controls the opening tip.
This is a team that plays at a slow pace. Nice back cut.
Caleb Brill coming off a 24-point effort on the road in Lubbock, all 24 coming via three-point range.
And he caught Grady Dick napping right there.
They go inside. KJ Adams back out to the All-American candidate Jalen Wilson for 3.
Very interesting, Rich. In Lawrence, they played through KJ Adams in that short roll 18 times. They did it right there to start the game. Excellent.
More on Adams coming up shortly. Jalen Wilson averaging 28 a game in his last 3 road games. That one an unforced error, the first turnover this afternoon.
Tamin Lipsey coming off his probably worst performance of his freshman year. You saw it out in Lubbock.
There's the Hall of Famer Bill Self. Coming off that national championship last year, has his team right back in the top 10. Here's Grady Dick, his first taste of Hilton Coliseum as a player. 10 on the shot clock. Dick for 3. Too strong, and Jalen Holmes corrals it for the Clones.
Now, Cyclones got Kansas on that first play, but they do like to go side to side and play at a slow tempo on the offensive end. A lot of touches.
The freshman Lipsey off to Oshuni. Oshuni with the free throw line jumper.
St. Bonaventure, 50-year guy, is playing his best of the season for the Cyclones.
Great point guard matchup, 3 versus 3. DeJuan Harris for Kansas and Tamin Lipsey for Iowa State. Here's Harris, coming off a career-high tying 18. Wilson, not this time. Lipsey clears. These 2 teams met 3 weeks ago. It was a 2-point affair, 62-60. Kansas came away with the victory in Lawrence.
Cyclones made a lot of jump shots in that game. They're going to have to do something similar today.
Oshuni. And the foul is going to go on defensive specialist Kevin McCullough Jr.
Kevin McCullough is first, team number 1.
Watch the big fella from Pleasantville, New Jersey, takes McCullough into the low post, and he's going to shoot a pair. The 2 transfers from St. Bonaventure, Darren Holmes and Oshuni, have been really, really solid.
Oshun had one of his best all-around games this season in a Cyclones uniform against Kansas. 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 blocks.
Yes. And I meant Jaron, you know, all 5 of those St. Bonaventure starters are playing basketball. They were all seniors last year, went to the NIT Final Four.
Oshuni goes 1 for 2. He has 3, and Iowa State's up 2.
Token pressure, 1-2-2. Usually nothing to make of it here, just to slow the game down. And then back to man. They will be in man, Rich, about 95% of the time.
Adams elbow jumper. And that's been falling lately for KJ Adams. Oshuni met at the rim. 2 feet in the paint. And the follow by Lipsy.
Well, they look like they're going to let him play inside, which is a good thing. But I like the idea the home team goes inside early and establishes some aggressiveness.
Here's a 3 from the corner. McCullough, nothing but air. Cyclone faithful want to blow the roof off Hilton Coliseum with every good play from their team.
Kansas is getting that switch, and there's a mismatch inside if Iowa State will look for it.
Kalsher off the window. And Bill Self wants to talk it over. The Cyclones have come out rolling up 9-3 on 8th-ranked Kansas. We'll step aside as well. With Fran Fraschilla, I'm Rich Hollenberg. You already noticed some of the chess match going on between TJ Otzelberger and Bill Self.
This is a league of adjustments. Now there's a switch inside. First there's Adams, and he's posted up. But then watch the drive right here. McCullough wants to come over, and he doesn't really want to leave Oshuni. What TJ Otzelberger has done early is try to force Kansas to switch.
And the cheer you hear from Cyclone Alley is for Jazz Kuntz entering the game for the first time. Number 5 in white has missed all of Big 12 play with a broken finger. First game back. See what Self has after the timeout. Pretty good decision to get Jalen Wilson a jump shot, but he comes up empty.
Well, Kansas has moved the ball well early. When you play against this defense with 5 on one side, you have to swing it to the other side. They're doing it, but they haven't made shots yet.
Iowa State in the midst of a 7-0 run. KU has missed their last 5. Here's Holmes working on the bigger Adams. Left hand rolls off. And as much as Iowa State likes to play it slow, Kansas likes to go, go, go. And Grady Dick turns it over.
And you see Jalen Wilson, as he gets to the middle, he's looking to that opposite side, but Kansas hasn't taken advantage yet.
When we come back, we'll tell you more about one of the most improved players in college basketball. An interesting story. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. It is a big-time atmosphere inside Hilton Coliseum. Cyclone Alley at full throat already as their Cyclones have a 6-point lead on number 8 Kansas. And one of the keys to Kansas' success this year, Fran, has been the improved play of KJ Adams. Give credit to CJ Moore from The Athletic, wrote a terrific article about Adams and his mom, Yvonne.
Yep, and Yvonne is back in Austin battling cancer. The family is battling together. It's taking a toll on KJ. You wouldn't know it because he's played so well. She got a chance to see him up at Missouri when he had, I think, 15 in the first half. And she's probably, Dad Kevin played football at New Mexico, but she's the basketball player in the family and probably as good a coach to this young man as anybody in that family. Yvonne, you're brave. We're thinking of you. We're praying for you, and your son is just absolutely a wonderful young man. You and Kevin have done an amazing job with him and his 2 sisters, so we are certainly praying for you.
KJ and the Jayhawks find themselves down 6. Here's Adams guarding Robert Jones. Jones misses. McCullough rebounds, and the foul's going to go on Jazz Kuntz.
Well, you can see what TJ Otzelberger wants to do early. This has been a jump shooting team in Big 12 play with Kalsher and Holmes and Grill, but he's trying to establish some toughness early in this building, and so far I'd say so good.
Absolutely. 6 of their 9 points coming inside the painted area.
Now Kansas, they've done what they wanted to do. They just haven't made shots, minus a turnover here or there.
They use 1 for 6 from the field. Adams quiets that.
Nicely done. Now this is what they did in Lawrence. The aggressiveness on the pick and roll makes Adams the outlet. We call it a short roll. And Rich, he's gotten really good at that. In fact, Bill Self compares him to Draymond Green in that regard.
It's high praise. He had 15 the last time these two teams met, including the game-winning basket. Grill off the mark. Bodies fly, no whistle. They're letting them play.
Yeah, a little too much, both ways. But that's the league. The league has been very physical this year.
Here's Adams, top of the key.
And there's another one of those errant passes. Nice.
With 10 on the shot clock, Brady Dick can't connect. Offensive rebound by the leading rebounder in this league. And Jazz Kuntz took a shot to the kisser.
I'm going to tell you right now, both ways, too much contact. You're going to have a fiasco on your hands. This league is a physical league, but a little too much both ways. They're going to go to the monitor, but it's up to these three officials to get this under control. Take a look. There's a shot. Yeah, now that's a basketball play. There's contact. Watch Jalen Wilson turn into Kuntz, and that could be a foul called on Kuntz.
Yeah.
Because what we have right here is that could be a cylinder violation.
Right. Personal space invaded.
Yes, offensive space.
Right. Well, here's the return of Jazz Kuntz, and he was their leading rebounder before he got hurt, only 11 games into the season. And when you talk to TJ Altenberger and his staff, they tell us all the time he is the steadiest player on this roster.
Yeah, I mean, he was off to such a great start in his 5th year, and they're going to play on.
So no call. Kuntz will go to the bench. It'll be Iowa State basketball, the inbound triggered by number 2, Caleb Grill. Iowa State comes in reeling a bit. They've lost 4 of their last 6, including that loss Monday in Lubbock where they gave up a 23-point lead with 12 minutes to go against the Red Raiders. Here's Kalsher for 3. Much improved shooter this year, but he was 0 for 6 against Texas Tech from beyond the arc.
He's played with great confidence. He's a terrific defender also.
Here's Wilson, leading scorer, leading rebounder in the Big 12.
Cyclones locked in early defensively.
That one's picked off by Robert Jones. Lipsy in transition.
Kansas is trying to skip the ball to the other side of the court with no success. Cyclones are dialed into that adjustment by Self.
Wilson, the floater, no. And Trey King on the floor for the first time grabs the rebound. 7 minutes gone by. Top 15 matchup in the Big 12. Number 8 Kansas on the road against number 13 Iowa State. Here's King, muscles his way to the bucket. Fran, Kansas is shooting 2 for 10. Why is that?
You know, part of it is shots that they normally make are not going in, but it's also outstanding defense. They're not getting the looks they got in Lawrence.
Wilson for 3.
He is never going to hesitate to take a big shot. He kind of knew they needed something. He was open, he let it fly.
Coming into this game in his last 4, Jalen Wilson 13 for 28 from beyond the arc. He's got 2 today already. Jones can't make it back-to-back buckets. Another rebound for Wilson. Joseph Yesufu, backup point guard. And that's another errant jump shot by the Jayhawks.
Now, Iowa State wanting to go inside early, but when they do run this year, very effective, one of the best in the country. They don't do it often, but take a look right here. They get the job done. They beat the Jayhawks down the floor.
First Saturday in February, a dynamite day for college hoops. Coming up on ESPN at 4 Eastern, number 1 Purdue taking on Indiana. Then the greatest rivalry in the sport, North Carolina and Duke square off at Cameron Indoor. And when you talk about those 4 teams that we just mentioned, Fran, a number of Player of the Year candidates on
no question about it. Zach Edey probably #1 right now. Jalen Wilson, Drew Timme having phenomenal years, as is Trace Jackson Davis, who will go up against Zach Edey today. But the young man from Toronto, 7'4", Yao Ming-like. Purdue, maybe the best team in the country right now. I'd have to give him the nod, but doesn't take anything away from the incredible year Jalen Wilson has had for Bill Self.
Bob Wischusen and Dick Vitale on the call for that one. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis in Carolina. Off the timeout, another bucket for Trey King.
Well, that time he had Joe Yesufu on him, and TJ Otzelberger's done a good job early of picking up those mismatches.
Yesufu, left hand.
That's the #1, Joseph Yesufu.
Here's Holmes, way off the mark. It's only their 3rd three-point attempt of the day.
He's going to shoot it. Why
Wilson,
not? Yep.
3rd 3 of the day for Jalen Wilson.
He takes 33% of this team's shots when he's on the court. So there's 5 players, but he's getting 1/3 of the looks, and that's by design.
3 for 4 in the early going from beyond the arc for Jalen Wilson. That rebound goes to Ernest Udeh.
He's open again.
That time a little short. And the foul's going to go on Udeh.
Now, let me explain, Rich. Because Iowa State is a help defensive team, all 5 white jerseys end up on the same side as the ball, which is why over the last couple of years, you think of Chris Beard's defense at Texas Tech and Texas, Iowa State under Otzelberger. You must move the ball from the side where there's a lot of bodies to the other side. So they skip it really well. And that creates shots for guys like Wilson and Dick.
Iowa State a 2-point lead. One of these teams will end up 7-3 after today and could have a share of first place in the Big 12. Texas leading the league right now at 7-2. They're playing on the road at a tough Kansas State team. That one almost picked off, and it is. Tamin Lipsey with the hustle in the hands.
Another precocious freshman from Ames. Good activity right there.
Lipsey 4th in the conference in assists and 4th in steals.
There you see the quick hands by Lipsey. The call out of bounds. Now, interesting, Kansas is doing, they're treating Tamin Lipsey like he's got the flu, and they're staying as far away from it as they can when he gives the ball up. So Yesufu, when they don't switch, becomes a big-time helper.
Tamin Lipsey's only attempted 15 three-point attempts this season. Now 10 to shoot.
I think you got to throw it in. Work on the freshman.
That's what Oshuni's doing. Left hand is good.
Yep. Got to keep doing that because the big fella, the freshman, Udeh, doesn't have the experience or the minutes.
And the crowd loves it as Jazz Kuntz hits the deck again, and another Kansas foul.
Well, Udeh's going to be a very good player. He hasn't gotten a lot of minutes this year because Bill Self felt he's not ready for this type of action. And what I like about Oshuni, Rich, we saw him early in the year, he's much more aggressive than he was in November and December.
Here's Oshuni again.
What hands?
That one's stripped by DeJuan Harris.
Yeah, great hands. He read it from the weak side and came over and saved the basket.
Leads the conference in assist to turnover ratio. 6th in the nation. That shot off the mark. They are not going in for the Kansas Jayhawks, one of the best offenses in the country. Here's Kuntz for 3.
It's good basketball. Grady Dick did a nice job of coming over and taking away that short roll.
Kansas in transition, and that is The #1 thing on the scouting report that the Iowa State coaches had against Kansas is get back on defense and stop their transition.
And they'll shoot the 3 in transition, which makes them even more deadly. Hey, I'll tell you this. Kansas has not played well, and they're 1-8-0 run away from, obviously 8 would put them in the lead. But it's not all bad for Bill Self right now because Iowa State is not a potent offensive team usually.
Bobby Pettiford checking in, 0 and blue for the first time as Yesufu goes to the bench. Jayhawks 3 turnovers in their last 4 possessions. That Cyclones defense will do that to you. That's going to go on Jaron Holmes, his first foul. There are some grown men on this Iowa State roster, Frank.
There's no question. The whole league has them. There's the elevator play.
Dick, in and out again.
The doors opened on the elevator with those 2 bigs, and they shut, and Dick had a great look, couldn't finish it. You'll see that every 5 games.
Inside. A concerted effort by the Clones to do that. Jazz Kuntz gives them a fresh set of seconds, and unfortunately Caleb Groh comes up empty. Kuntz with the kick ball. And a timeout on the floor with Iowa State up 4.
You talk about Jalen Wilson. You think recently Ochai Agbaji, national champion. Azubuike, a big senior year. Mason Graham, it's his turn. And on the road, he's delivering.
New era in college basketball's greatest rivalry. There is nothing better than Duke and Carolina. But it's as crazy as ever. You just have to sit back and enjoy this. North Carolina, Duke, tonight at 6:30 on ESPN.
Back inside a jam-packed Hilton Coliseum, Iowa State with a 4-point lead, and TJ Alzberger in just 2 short seasons as the head coach in Hilton Coliseum, Fran, has made a habit of knocking off top 25 teams. They have 10 top 25 wins over the last 2. This year, they're 5-2 against top 25 teams and 3-1 against top 10 teams.
And this was supposed to be another one of those rebuilding years, and he's got the #7 class in the country coming in, some outstanding freshmen. Omaha Ballou, McDonald's All-American, 6'8", forward, going to be a terrific player. There's that, nicely done, yep.
And what do they tell KJ Adams? Dunk everything.
Yeah, and he's so good. He's like a tight end. Like, he's so reliable. He's always going to be open, especially because of the way Iowa State pressures, guards the baseline drive, and also in those pick-and-roll plays we talked about.
Kalsher off the catch. First 3 for Gabe Kalsher. He has 5, and the lead is 5.
First 3 of the game, too. Look at this.
Brill got his hands on it. It's going to stay Kansas basketball.
When there's a baseline drive, Rich, there's going to be help. So watch what happens. KJ's just going to find himself right in the middle as Jones comes over. And think of Travis Kelce going about 8 yards, turning around, looking for a pass. I know Jayhawk fans like that one. and that's what he is. He's like a reliable receiver. And they can throw it to him and he can make plays because he's got such a good IQ.
Kelce on hand at the fob in their Sunflower Showdown game. There's the first 3 for the freshman, Grady Dick.
And they are very fortunate, Iowa State, because Grady's gotten open 4 or 5 times. That's his first one, but if you give him room, Rich, you know what he did in Lawrence in the last meeting. 21, 3 threes in the second half. That is too easy, but good for Grady Dick, who's got a little bit of a connection to this place, doesn't he?
I would say so. His mom and dad, they get more airtime than you and I do.
Yeah, I know it.
There's Carmen in the middle with the glasses, her husband Bart. On the right, they're Grady Dick's parents. Carmen was a sensational basketball player right here in Ames. She was a player for the Cyclones back in the late 80s, scored 1,000 points.
Yeah.
Was the Iowa State Female Athlete of the Year in 1989.
Grew up about 70 miles northeast. You can't leave Grady open, and good for him because he would love to play well here today.
Kalsher, tough shot. Dick the rebound.
Nice pass. Oh, he threw it in between 2.
Let's give mom a little bit more love. Of course, back in those days, she was Carmen Jaspers, but there she is with all her basketball pictures on the wall. Led ISU in scoring, almost 16 a game back in 87, 88. And her senior year in 1989, she ended up with 1,000 points in her career.
I got something for you that you probably don't know.
You usually do.
No, we'll wait for a dead ball, and we're going to tell you something about her that's pretty amazing.
Trey King showing the range.
Remember, he's only played the second half of the year, the transfer from Eastern Kentucky. But with Kuntz back, King off the bench, this becomes a more potent Cyclone team.
Under 6 minutes to go. And that's a traveling violation called on Bobby Pettiford.
Let me go back and finish up with Grady's mom. She once made, February of 1988, she went 15 for 15 from the foul line against the Kansas Jayhawks.
How about that?
Yep.
And now she's wearing the Jayhawks blue and red.
By the way,
sure.
She taught her son to shoot pretty well.
I would say so. All three of Grady's older siblings also KU grads.
Tamus not going to shoot that. He's more of a passer.
Gives it up to Jones against Adams. In and out. And Adams the rebound.
Jones shot that ball without looking at the basket. Adams did a nice job of walling him off. Robert Jones has been much more aggressive this year offensively.
Offensive foul as Gabe Kalsher got in the way of Jalen Wilson.
Watch Kalsher move his feet. Let's watch Wilson. I don't know. That's a net. Either or. I'm going to stop officiating. I just know the game's a little too physical. Both ways.
They go inside to King again. Now MJ Rice getting some burn. And King takes advantage.
Well, they've done that early today. Anytime TJ Otzelberger feels a mismatch, he goes right at it. That time it was MJ Rice, the freshman. Trey King, young man from Lexington, Kentucky. A couple good, solid seasons for the Colonels at Eastern Kentucky. It took him about 2 years to finally get eligible. Went from Eastern Kentucky, Georgetown, didn't play there, came here. We watched him practice last year, and he's finally getting the job done.
Trey King has scored 8 of Iowa State's last 13 points. They have a 6-point lead with under 5 to go. Zach Clements on the floor now, 21 in blue for Bill Self. Trying to dial up the right combination to go on a run, which they have yet to do inside Hilton Coliseum. Here's Grill on the breakaway. Blocked by Clements, no call, and somehow Tamin Lipsey got the follow. Iowa State is not used to running, but run they did. The steal by Grill and the layup by Lipsey, and they've got themselves an 8-point lead.
Green, Crispin, and Cuff coming up on the Jeep Halftime Report. UNC Duke, the first installment this year. We'll preview that maybe classic coming up 6:30 Eastern time. Also, a bunch of top 25 highlights coming your way. A couple teams in battles right now, as is Kansas. What are we seeing, Coach?
Well, right now, Kansas is making the shots they're making are closely guarded, but some of the passes that are leading to baskets for Iowa State are ridiculous. And I think, to me, Lipsey, I love the way Lipsey has responded. Tim and Lipsey has responded from the way he played the other night. He's playing with confidence. He's moving the ball. I like Iowa State.
Look, Iowa State early lead allowed them to dictate the tempo and the pace of this game. Kansas has to level up, match toughness, match effort, and then start to take control of this game.
After that collapse that the Cyclones had midweek, great start so far. Rich, Franny, back to you. We'll see you at the half.
Thanks, DC. Iowa State using points off turnovers and points in the paint, much to their advantage so far.
Yes, it's funny. Tom Green broke it down nicely. We talked about he watches more film than anybody. And we were talking about Lipsey and how he would respond today because he played very poorly the other night, which is uncharacteristic. 1-3-1 zone out of the timeout. They'll do that once or twice a game just to give you a different look. It's like the fastball pitcher throwing a little changeup. And now they go back to man. They took a lot of time off the clock there.
Yeah, 5 on the shot clock for the Jayhawks. Dick guarded by Kalsher. DeJuan Harris, short on the 3. McCullough gets it back for Kansas. And that 3 off the mark. Foul on the floor, says Brooks Wells.
Yeah, that was pretty good by TJ. What he did was he changed his defense. They went 1-3-1 for the first 10 seconds, and then they switched back to man. By the time Kansas recognized that, it was a low clock. Amazing. I just love watching Jalen Wilson play this year, Richard. You know, he broke his leg as a freshman, had the red shirt. He's a 4th-year junior. And it's just amazing how when you get to be an upperclassman for Bill Self, the freedom he gives you.
Look at the hands-on defense by Wilson. I mean, he makes scoring 20 a game in the Big 12 look easy.
And he's going to hang a banner in Allen Fieldhouse because he's going to be an All-American. Nice cut.
Lipsy, blocked by McCullough. Jayhawks love to run. There's the foul by Lipsy. It's his first.
His first, team foul number 4.
DeJuan Harris, the steadying force for these Kansas Jayhawks.
DeJuan finally broke out. Watch the lob here. DeJuan had 18 against K-State. There's that skip pass.
Out of the double team, Wilson will go to the line for the first time.
That's really good. So now Jalen knows they're closing out on the three-point line. And what makes him so difficult to guard is that he can kill you from the perimeter, and he's got that physicality to get to the basket.
There's Wilson, 78% from the free throw line. We have a women's basketball triple header coming up for you tomorrow afternoon on ESPN2. Number 11 North Carolina and Louisville in our first game at noon. Then it's undefeated number 3 LSU taking on Texas A&M. And we cap the afternoon with a Big Ten matchup between number 10 Ohio State and number 8 Maryland.
I can't believe Diamond Miller, the Terps' great players, is finally a senior. What a career she's had in the Big Ten.
Hey, these Iowa State Cyclones.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Ranked
big one
12th
tonight.
in the country.
Baylor tonight here. A lot of these people will stick around, probably go to Provisions Lot F for lunch, and then be back here at 5 o'clock to see Ashley Jones play.
Kalsher double teamed in the post.
Not going to shoot it.
They go back inside.
See how they're playing him. That's good defense by McCullough.
1 on the shot clock. It's good if it goes, and it does! Largest lead of the game for the Cyclones, 29-21.
Well, why was the big guy double teamed? Because they play off Lipsy. Take a look where Lipsy is. He throws it back in. They double team him with McCullough. And so now Iowa State's in a scramble, and then the basketball gods, every now and then they rear up and you catch a break.
I don't know if you can call this team Hilton Magic. It's more like Hilton hard work. 10 on the clock. Grady Dick baseline, no good. Kalsher the rebound.
That time Kansas did what they wanted. Iowa State closed out defensively, and Grady just couldn't make the shot.
Clones a chance to extend the lead to double digits. Anthony Petty got the offensive foul called on Kalsher.
Kalsher drives, Wilson takes the body. And doing it all right now.
And with 1:54 to go, TJ Hotzelberger calls a use it or lose it timeout with his Clones up 8 against 8th ranked Kansas.
A 30-second timeout.
Our college hoops lineup rolls on all afternoon right here at ESPN at 4 Eastern. Number 1 Purdue takes on Indiana. Then North Carolina and Duke squaring off at Cameron Indoor, France, despite the fact that that game has both of those teams unranked for the first time in a long time. It's always must-see TV, and I know you're excited to see Kyle Filipowski, the fabulous freshman.
That is a young Duke team. They only have 1 returner from that Final Four team, Jeremy Roach. And Kyle Filipowski is in contention for ACC Player of the Year. He's already locked up the Rookie of the Year award. He's a double-double machine for first-year coach John Shire.
10 to shoot.
He's
Number 10 with the ball. Oh, that dunk missed from close range by Adams.
And KJ took off a little bit too far out and had to reach out. Bad break.
Kansas's low in a half this season was 25 against Tennessee. They're in danger of eclipsing that today.
This team averages nearly 77. There's that help. Playing off Lipsy. King.
He's in double digits. 10 points for Trey King.
Remember what we said. They went inside on the first play of the game. They're not relying on jump shots today. It's all in the paint.
18 points in the paint for the Cyclones. Offensive foul on Wilson.
Jalen Wilson, we told you he could score in a lot of ways, but that time, out of control, and Oshuni was waiting since Thursday. Now, interesting, 48 seconds. Does TJ Otzelberger go 2 for 1 here? The number for me is 42, and I don't think they're going to get to it, so they're not going to go 2 for 1. They're going to just play the possession game here.
Inside.
You don't need to double team Lipsy if he's not going to be a scoring threat. That's just letting a quarterback throw down the field.
1 second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Largest lead of the game for Iowa State. And they'll hold for 1. Yesufu. Harris traveled. That's the 11th Jayhawk turnover in this first half. And 3.9 left for the Cyclones to get one more shot.
He got 4 dribbles right here. If I'm Lipsy, now Joe Yesufu should come up. That's what he's going to do. Whoever catches this ball has 4 dribbles. Give and go.
Holmes blocked out of bounds. A good defensive stand at the end, but it's been Iowa State's first 20 minutes. The 13th ranked Cyclones lead the 8th ranked Jayhawks by a dozen.
It's been bully ball in the paint today for Iowa State. They started on the first play, scoring at the rim. It's been King. It's been Oshuni dominating inside. Bill Self's got to figure something out as they go to half. Big fella at the rim, sending it home.
Coming up at the break, join Dallin Cup, John Crispin, and Tom Crean. The Jeep halftime report is coming up with the Cyclones up by 12 on the Jayhawks.
Thanks, Rich. This is the Jeep
run at the end of the half to take a 12-point lead over Kansas. The Clones are 11-2 when they lead at halftime this season. Alongside Fran Fraschilla, I'm Rich Hollenberg back inside a sold-out Hilton Coliseum for this Big 12 tilt. And Iowa State dominated in this half in 2 main categories. What were those?
They did. Points in the paint, 20 points. Think about that. They went inside early in the game. They never let up. Oshuni backing down, scoring inside. They got the job done inside effectively. Trey King off the bench. He gets it done around the rim. And then the other main concern, and it's a concern for Bill Self, is points off turnovers for Iowa State. 12-0. And they were dialed into Kansas's attack offensively. And they scored transition. And you know, a guy that we got to highlight, Rich, is the youngster as Kalsher hits a desperation shot clock running down 3. How about the job Taman Lipsy's done today? 5 assists, 1 turnover, running the team like a veteran.
Yeah, against the high-powered Kansas offense, the Cyclones D holds them to their lowest scoring half this year. Just 21 points, the number 1 3-point shooting team in the conference. KU, just 4 for 14 from beyond the arc and 0 fast break points.
Very interesting. Only 4 free throws shot in this first half, 2 each way. And you know, if you're not making shots, Bill Self's going to drive the ball to the basket.
Here's McCollum, scoreless in the first half.
Good help.
Harris gets the first bucket in the second half.
Remember, he's coming off 18 points against K-State. Previous 5, a total of 13. And we've seen throughout the year that if he has to score, he can get the job done.
Kalsher creates some space. Badly misses the 3, but Lipsy gets it back. Didn't touch rim, so 10 on the shot clock. Three to shoot. Holmes drives instead of shoots, and it's off the window too strong.
Good challenge by McCullough at the rim.
Look at KJ Adams leading the transition. Grady Dick held to just 1 3-point field goal in the first half. That one way off the mark. Four for 15 from 3 for the Kansas Jayhawks. Iowa State looking to hold home court, which they have done all year long. Jaron Holmes with the 3.
The Bonaventure connection. Ashuni under control in that high paint area off the pick and roll.
That's his first points of the afternoon, but Jaron Holmes averaging 20 a game at home in his last 3. Wilson triple teamed, and the foul's going to go on Iowa State.
Let's go back and watch that last play. In pick and roll, if your big guy can catch it in the high paint, under control, it makes him really effective. And that's something he probably did 500 times at St. Bonaventure with Jaron Holmes, the 2 transfers.
Leading scorer overall for the Cyclones, 13.5 a game for number 13 in white. Wilson. And the foul, is it before the shot?
You can see what we talked about. If you're not making shots, Bill Self will manufacture plays at the rim to get himself to get Wilson to the foul line. Well done right there. They don't play the big bully ball, 2 bigs anymore. But when they do need to go inside, Kansas has a way to do it.
And Wilson misses the first. Of note, that foul called on Gabe Kalsher. That's his 3rd. Jazz Kuntz will take his spot on the floor. Kuntz playing his first game in Big 12 play this season, coming off a broken finger on his non-shooting hand. Wilson 1 for 2. He has a baker's dozen. He's done the bulk of the scoring today for Kansas. There's Kuntz. He can shoot the 3, and he's their best rebounder. Oshuni had some space, but Kevin McCullough shut him down. The bump and the bucket. What a move by Jalen Wilson.
So good in transition. He can handle it, and he can fly up the court. And take a look right here. All 4 of those perimeter players can handle it. That's a call that literally could go either way.
Yeah.
If you call that a charge, this fan base loves it. A lot of people in the state of Kansas saying, nah, that's a block.
And how about this, Fran? More than 2 minutes into the second half, that's the first fast break points and the first points off turnover for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Started by Kevin McCullough, who defensively was not good in the Baylor game. Talk to anybody around this team, they'll tell you, last 3 games, he's been the defensive demon that we think he can be.
Oshuni, there's tapped away. Here's Dick. And we're going the other way.
Turnabout, fair play. 1-and-1. Take a look right here. There's a steal by the Harris, who's got that 6'6" wingspan. There's the drive. Less contact, but fair enough.
This Iowa State team prides themselves on taking charges. To my count, that is the 5th offensive charge they've taken already today. A bucket here, they have their largest lead of the game. Kuntz can't give it to him. Loose ball, who wants it? McCullough's got it.
Kansas has ratcheted up that defense. McCullough, a big reason why. There you go.
KJ Adams.
KJ made a living with that in Lawrence. Again, he opens up, he catches it, always under control.
A 6-0 Jayhawks run. But the lead is still 7 for Iowa State. Looking to even up the season series, and if Texas loses, they'll claim a share of first place in the Big 12. And that foul is going to go. Iowa State will go the other way.
I've got a feeling that Kansas is starting to find its groove. And Kevin McCullough has been a big reason why. He's made 2 or 3 hustle plays on the defensive end that have led to baskets. You look at Harris and McCullough, 2 of the better defensive players, certainly in the Big 12 and in the country.
We talked about the chess match from game to game in the Big 12. Adjustments at halftime. Huge.
One.
And there's another great feed from KJ Adams to Grady Dick.
What you like about that is Bill Self kind of saved that, knowing that Iowa State would pressure.
That's going to go on to Juan Harris.
This is what we call adjustments. You notice team pressures you. So how do you create a way to use their pressure against them? Well, set up a back cut for an athletic cutter right here. Watch the pass by KJ Adams. We've been watching that for 20 years. Wayne Simeon loves that one.
LeBron marches toward the all-time NBA scoring title when the Lakers take on the Pelicans at 6 Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. Just 63 points from Kareem's record. And here's our Saturday primetime matchup on ABC. The Mavs start a 5-game West Coast road trip at the Chase Center against Steph and the Warriors. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
LeBron likely to break that record at home in LA in the next couple weeks, unless he gets 64 tonight.
So we're looking at the Big 12 net rankings. Kansas, 9 quad 1 wins. That's 2 quad 1 wins more than anybody in the country. Iowa State not far behind with 6. Why is the net so important?
Well, because it's the tool that the NCAA now uses, an analytical tool besides your eye test, to determine the powerfulness of your wins, your schedule. And you know, Larry Keating, the late Larry Keating, was assistant athletic director at Kansas, just a great guy. He and Bill Self, they have always put together a great non-conference schedule. So, Rich, even when they go into the best league in the country, which this league has probably been the last decade, their net ranking is always high. Bill Self never shies away from playing great competition, needless to say. In fact, we were talking last night. Think about Champions Classic. Kansas is the only team that's ranked right now amongst Kentucky, Michigan State, and Duke. And Bill Self stands the test of time year in and year out.
1 for 2 for Holmes, but Jones with the offensive rebound. Can't convert. Out of bounds, it'll stay Iowa State basketball.
And we talked about the improvement of Robert Jones, but he only shoots a little over 50% at the rim. And that one he'd love to have back. That's a chippy.
That's a big bucket from Holmes. Good start to the second half, and he says, you better call somebody.
4-point play. Little zone now, 1-3-1 against, out of that free throw.
Wilson left alone. Way off the mark, and King clears. Well, you sense Kansas making a run. The lead is still 9 for the Clones. Floater off the mark. And McCullough wants to run. Here's DeJuan Harris spotted up. Chased down by Grady Dick. Loose ball. Holmes comes away with it. It's the Jaron Holmes show for the last minute. No points in the first half, 9 in the second half. And the Iowa State Cyclones are back up by 11, 14:49 to go, and a timeout on the floor. Inside a sold-out and raucous Hilton Coliseum, the Cyclones have an 11-point lead over the 8th-ranked Jayhawks alongside Fran Fraschilla. I'm Rich Hollenberg. It's been the Jaron Holmes Show in the second half.
A lot of experience from this guy. 4 years at St. Bonaventure, took it to some great heights. 3-time academic All-A-10. Feeling it today. Again, all the experience. Watch this. Navigating himself through traffic on Iowa State Road 30 right here, finishing at the rim. And this young man, Rich, I mentioned the academic prowess, a politics junkie. You'll likely see him hosting Meet the Press in about 15 years. He's a great young man, well-rounded, from Romulus, Michigan, right outside of Detroit by the airport.
Exactly the kind of transfer that TJ Otzelberger was looking for this offseason. He's old, he's experienced, and he doesn't get rattled in tough environments. One of 3 24-year-olds on this roster, Jaron Holmes.
Wow.
Before the ball gets inbounds.
It looked like McCullough and Wilson were wrestling. Again, a lot of contact today. They've let it go. They've let both teams play. I don't think any coach has had a major beef with the physicality.
The last Kansas lead was 3-2 in the opening moments of this ball game. That one off Wilson's foot, saved by Harris. Here's the lob, and Dick couldn't handle it. It goes out of bounds.
Broken play.
Turnover.
Yeah, broken play, Rich. And Grady Dick can go up and get that one too. Just lost concentration. Take a look. I mean, Grady Dick can play above that rim, and he just can't hold on.
Their season high in turnovers is 17. There's still 14 minutes left in this one, and they have 13 already.
Well, this is a great defensive team, needless to say. That's been the hallmark of TJ Otzelberger.
Lipsy. Just his 16th three-point attempt this season. And again, Iowa State's defense thwarting transition buckets. Here's Harris, short on the 3. They made a bunch of them in their win against Kansas State earlier at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Not so much today.
Got him.
King off the mark from the close range.
Well, Kansas caught a break because on the switch, King was wide open.
Wilson steps through, gets fouled, and will go to the line.
I like what Jalen Wilson is doing, Rich. We've seen him do it throughout his career, and more so today. He knows how to score. When he's on from 3 like he was early, he'll take it. But he also knows that if he goes to the rim with physicality, he's going to either score or get fouled, and that's good strategy.
Kansas with 13:25 to go in the game, already in the bonus. They'll be shooting free throws on every subsequent Iowa State foul.
When you think of the better players in this league, Keontae Johnson from K-State, this guy at the line, Marcus Carr, Texas, they are as physical on the offensive end as your defense is on the defensive end, and you have to play that way.
18 for Jalen Wilson. Winner here today will have potentially a share for first place in the league at the halfway point. Oshuni with the left hand.
KJ is going to give you resistance, but Oshuni has just got a size. That's a size advantage right there.
That one knocked out of bounds by Trey King.
Watch how patient. We talked about older players. Let's watch how patient Oshun is in the post, backing his man down to the middle and then spinning right there like Kevin McHale. Really well done, excellent footwork from the big fella from New Jersey.
Over 1,100 points and over 900 rebounds in his career. Doubled in the posts. And KJ Adams Adams takes it strong to the 10 and gets fouled for his efforts.
Good find by Jalen Wilson. He was double-teamed on the baseline. It was a good double. And watch KJ. He always works himself to the top of the restricted arc. And there he is, right there.
Adams off the mark with the free throw. Just a 60% free throw shooter. Trey King will check out. Yeoman-like work from Zero and White. And Jazz Kuntz back on the floor for the Cyclones.
Boy, King became eligible early in Big 12 play. Kuntz was out. Those two guys just deep in that bench.
Adams 1 for 2 from the stripe. Now some more token pressure by Kansas. With Iowa State up by 10, 12.5 to go.
And Jaron Holmes is the secondary point guard when they rest Lipsy.
Good ball movement by the Clones. Holmes again.
He's calling home again.
Offensive foul, says Antonio Petty on Kevin McCullough Jr. And that's the 4th on McCullough.
Can't lower your shoulder. Easy call. Bill Self's not arguing it. And again, when you play Iowa State, you're playing against one of the best defensive teams in the country.
They're first in the nation in turnover percentage. Not to mention, of course, the Hilton Magic. They win 75% of their games in the 50-plus years they've been playing ball in this gym. Undefeated this year at 11-0. There's a turnover. Kansas has gone almost 5 minutes without a bucket.
Kansas Rich trying to get a little momentum. Also a good start in the second half. But Jaron Holmes from Romulus, Michigan. Get the phone out because he's calling home. And they love it here in Hilton.
.11:43 to go. Iowa State up 13 on 8th-ranked Kansas. Fran, what did you notice about that last play from Jalen Wilson?
Well, you know that when you have a team that's going to keep you out of the middle and drive baseline, you have to cut behind it. Watch Jalen Wilson at the top of the key. There's the ball. A lot of white jerseys follow that ball to the baseline. And Jalen Wilson and Grady Dick were both cutting to the basket. Kansas, one of the better cutting teams in the country. In this league, Rich, you have to do it because there's so much help side defense that you have to cut behind the defense's vision. And Wilson did a great job right there.
Jalen Wilson averaging over 21 points a game, looking to be just the 3rd Kansas Jayhawk in the Bill Self era to end the season averaging 20 points in a season. And he's got 19 today.
And he would be #1 if the season ended today. Frank Mason and Wayne Simeon, 2 and 3 right now. Ochai was in that 20 range last year and then slipped down into the high teens. Ochai Agbaji now with the Utah Jazz.
That bucket gives Wilson 20, 6 straight 20-point efforts for Jalen Wilson, who is on an epic tear.
14th of the season. Had the roll.
What a zip pass. Through to O'Shooty.
What a play. They overloaded the right side, so there was nobody from the backside to help. It was 1-on-2. You either guard the roller or the shooter on the weak side. Excellent design. That's
largest
good.
lead of the game, Frank.
Yeah. Rich, great out of timeout stuff.
Dick, back cut. Now it's Yesufu. And the 3 ball has not fallen for the Jayhawks today.
Excellent design. Great cut by Grady Dick. And Yesufu has to make that shot.
Skip pass.
This play is set up to overload the right side of the floor. This is out of a timeout. So when Asuni rolls, it's either him. If Wilson comes over, King is on the backside. You see Wilson never commit, and the freshman just gets caught out high.
That foul's going to go on Bobby Pettiford, his second. Kansas is shooting 2 free throws the remainder of this game. They would be wise to start driving the ball inside just like Iowa State is. Yes, a free whistle for the foul. What were you saying about no fouls called in this game?
Well, you know, I've always said officials make adjustments too.
Grill, nice touch off the glass.
That cannot happen, but a great cut by Grill. Bill Self's not going to be happy about that. 1-3-1 now. Again, the fastball's been working. They throw the changeup at Kansas.
There's another turnover. The first time these two teams met, no team led by more than 7 points. This afternoon, it's been all Iowa State.
Remember, the Cyclones are coming off a 2-game losing streak.
Deep three. Got it! And Bill Self has seen enough.
It's been all defense for a lot of this game. The offense has been pretty good. Here's the steal inside by Grill. On the other end, you got to choose your poison. Do you take the roll man or do you leave him open? Either way, you're going to die.
Caleb Grill with his first 3 of the afternoon, coming off that 8 3-point effort against Texas Tech. And what a response from an Iowa State team that took a punch to the gut coming out of halftime. Kansas had cut the lead to 5, but since then, Fran, an 18-5 Iowa State run.
This is what I call the psychology of the schedule. In Rich, you were in Lubbock. When you're a good team and you give away a 23-point lead, you can do one of 2 things. You can make it a 3-game losing streak, or you can redouble your efforts, use that game as motivation and say, we're not going to let that happen again. Kansas, on the other hand, feeling a little bit better after the 3-game losing streak, 2 big wins. Not to say they've taken it easy today. They haven't. But Iowa State, give them credit for bouncing back from what was by far the ugliest loss of the season.
Kansas has not scored in 6 minutes of court time.
Caleb Grill just saved the basket right there. They cheated up to get the steal. Adams had somebody open on the cut. Grill knocked it out of bounds.
Still plenty of time left, 10 minutes to go. Adams threw it away. And now Lipsy will settle things down.
Nice poise. Freshman has had a great bounce-back game.
Lipsy with 8 assists. Almost got number 9 there. If Oshuni had triggered the 3.
He can make that. Gotta go.
3 to shoot. Lipsy does. It's going to be short. And a shot clock violation.
When I think of Tamin Lipsy's second half in overtime in Lubbock, it reminded me of a freshman quarterback in football who has that 3 or 4 interception game because it was so uncharacteristic of him that you knew he would at least learn his lesson. And today, I think we talked about 8 assists, turnovers, low, good bounce back.
Yeah, just 1 turnover for the freshman. That ball out of bounds, it'll stay Kansas basketball.
Much more Monte Morris-like today. Because Rich, quite frankly, he panicked in Lubbock.
Yeah. Speaking of Iowa State point guards, congrats to Tyrese Halliburton making the All-Star game for the Indiana Pacers, leading the NBA in assists. Eight to shoot. You know Wilson wants to. A tough two, and it goes.
Hardest shot of the day for Jalen Wilson. Good footwork, good pivot.
Now 22 from Wilson, but he's not getting any help from any of his teammates.
And remember now, Iowa State can play slow. They do not mind a slow tempo and long shot clock possessions.
According to Ken Palm's stats, they are 315th in the nation in adjusted tempo.
And they don't mind it at all because they grind you with their defense.
Jones. Lipsy got it back. Holmes for three.
He's going to get carpal tunnel syndrome holding that phone up for so long.
A lot of long distance from Jaren Holmes, but finally an answer from beyond the arc. This time from Joseph Yesufu.
Well, they needed that from Yesufu. He's shooting 28% on the season from deep.
Kansas just 5 for 20 from three. Lipsy again. Pettiford. Iowa State has forced Kansas to fall in love with the three ball. Unfortunately, the three ball has not loved them back today. Brill rises up and can't knock it down. And Wilson wants to run. Traveling violation called on Bobby Pettiford.
Rich, as good as Jaren Holmes has been tonight, he came in shooting 31% from three in conference play. But that's okay, because he's a veteran, he's confident. And today, 4 of 6 behind the arc, and they love it here in Hilton.
Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, a must-have for Big 12 fans after our game today. Number 15 TCU taking on Oklahoma State in Stillwater. Coverage begins at 2 Eastern, 1 Central. If you're a Big 12 fan, you gotta have it. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com/Big 12 now.
Now, timely shooting, Rich, for the Cyclones, but they've gotten it done in the paint. 30 points at the rim today. And then from the perimeter, they lit up just in time. Only 7 of 21 from three. But in the second half, they certainly got the job done. 5 of 12.
And a major turnaround for Jaren Holmes. Scoreless in the first half. All 15 of his points have come in the last 13 minutes.
Just gotta wonder, good defense. Gotta wonder what Jaren Holmes and Oshuna Shuni are feeling like. You know, they had great careers at St. Bonaventure for Mark Schmidt. And I talked to Adrian Wojnarowski, our NBA expert insider, and he told me, he said, I got to know these kids. He's a graduate of St. Bonaventure. He said, 2 great young men who chose to play their 5th year here to get a chance to see them and do a little Hilton magic.
They loved him up in Olean, and they love him here in Ames.
Do you know where Hilton Magic originated?
I believe it goes back to Buck Turnbull from the Des Moines Register.
1989. Went over Norm Stewart's number 3 ranked Missouri Tigers. You know, what was it today? 14, 15 degrees when we got here? There's nothing like February in the old Big 8. Kansas, Iowa State, Larry Brown, Johnny Orr, later on Roy Williams. Basketball at its best in college.
24 now for Wilson. If Iowa State can hang on, this will be their 4th win against the top 10 team this year. That's the most in program history in a season. Here's King. He had 10 in the first half. Holmes. No heat check for him. King, little out of his range. Here comes Harris. Grady Dick's been held in check, but they get the foul with Dick along the baseline.
The foul on Iowa State, number 21.
That goes on Oshuna. Oshuna is fourth.
Yeah, and they chased Grady off the line. They've done a great job of chasing him off the line, and according to the officials, Oshuna did not get there in time.
Grady Dick has made 19 straight free throws, one of the best shooters in the country. Make it 20 in a row, but just 6 points today for Grady Dick. So Oshuna needs the bench, and Trey King goes as well. So now Iowa State going a little smaller against Kansas.
Gives them a better ball handling team out on the perimeter. Jones still the hustle guy inside.
2 free throws from Grady Dick. Cuts the lead to 14 for Iowa State. What does Kansas have to do now to chip in?
Speed the game up defensively, get stops, and then push the ball in transition. They can score and make this, they can definitely cut into this deficit. Plenty of time left. If you're the Cyclones, you cannot put it on cruise control. By that I mean you got to stay aggressive with your shooting.
Inside out. Here's Kelscher with 4 on the shot clock. Short on the pull-up.
Again, Kansas will love driving this ball downhill.
Off the hands of Adam and into the arms of Jaron Holmes.
That is just another, Bill Self is beside himself right now. That's another 4-point play. Zone, 2-3 zone. Mixing it up. They'll show the zone and then they'll go man, which is exactly what they're doing.
Five minutes to go.
Again, they love to go side to side.
Here's Grill. And he's going to be fouled by Grady Dick.
You know what you love about Caleb Grill? He's not Jeff Hornacek. But he came here, he backed up Ty Halliburton, Sheer Bolton. He left to go to Las Vegas with TJ Otzelberger. Originally recruited by Iowa State when he was in high school in Wichita. And how about the senior year he is having? Coming back home, so to speak, playing in front of these great fans.
And as far as regular season goes, this will be his last time playing against the Kansas Jayhawks. Coming in, he had never scored more than 3 points in a game against Kansas. Today he has 8 and now 9.
He's had a great senior year. That performance against North Carolina when they were #1, that'll be remembered for a long time in these parts.
That was their first top 10 win of the year. Now they're looking for number 4 against the 8th-ranked Jayhawks, but they won't go quietly.
If Joe Yesufu can make some of those threes at a more consistent rate, he just makes Kansas a better team down the stretch of the season.
Ball out of bounds right in front of us.
Good hands by DeJuan Harris, who's only done that 10,000 times in his 4 years under Bill Self.
Color, scoreless in this game and remains that way.
Nice adjustment by Iowa State. They switched to 2 bigs and he couldn't get by Jones.
Big Rob energy, Frank.
Started on the other end with Big Rob. He held the fort down when McCullough tried to get by him.
This Iowa State defense has forced Kansas into 19 turnovers. That's a season high for them. McCullough gets the bump and the bucket, and he'll go to the line, but it's been all Cyclones. The Hilton Magic has come alive inside Hilton Coliseum with 3:48 to go, and the 13th ranked Cyclones on the brink of an upset. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. From inside sold-out Hilton Coliseum, Fran Fraschilla, Rich Hollenberg, and the rest of our ESPN crew kicking off a fantastic first Saturday in February. The number 13 Iowa State Cyclones with a 15-point lead over number 8 Kansas. And coming into today, Fran, Joey Brackett's Joe Lunardi had no fewer than 7 teams in the Big 12 in, but there's a couple more who are just outside on the bubble.
I'll tell you, Oklahoma State's got 2 home games coming up with Texas Tech and TCU, and a team I saw in Norman on Wednesday night. Mike Boynton's finally got a healthy club, great size, but look at this league. It's unbelievable. They showed well in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Kansas getting a test today. Obviously, it's not the same Kansas team that has dominated this league. They're still really good, Rich, but I'm impressed with the fact that Iowa State, after the heartbreak, you say, well, if they win that game in Lubbock, maybe they don't come in with the same oomph that they've shown today, but they've responded well. Their coach is a great young coach, matching wits with a Hall of Famer today. The league's amazing when it comes to the great coaching. 5 coaches have been in the Final Four.
Yep.
And 2 are headed that way someday with Tang and Otzelberger.
2 on the shot clock. And Lipsy draws the foul with the shot clock running down.
This city has put out some guys that ended up being pretty good players for the Cyclones. They call them the Little Cyclones at Ames High School, but Freddie Hoiberg and Harrison Barnes, Doug McDermott, Dick Snyder back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, played in the NBA for a while. This young man is, he certainly has shown the poise. I mean, they lost Tyrese Hunter to go to Texas, who's, been good. Imagine if Tyrese Hunter were on this team, playing the way he did last year.
And got to mention Jeremiah Williams, who's out with an Achilles. He transferred over from Temple. They thought he was going to be the starting point guard.
No question.
Off the mark. Use those 3 words frequently this afternoon for the Kansas Jayhawks. Just not their day shooting the ball. In a league where there is a razor-thin margin of error, it's almost odd to see a score that's more than 10 points. But Iowa State has dominated most of this contest. McCullough pull-up.
Rich, if you go back, I just did the numbers. If you look at it, assuming this is a loss, the last 4 losses in Big 12 play, 24 of 92 from behind the arc.
You live by the 3, you die by the 3 sometimes.
They can usually beat you without making threes, but when they're as abysmal as that is, that's a little over 25%. It's going to be hard to beat teams in this league. Remember, Kansas has to get on a plane, get home in 2 or 3 hours, and they got to get ready for Texas on Big Monday. Now, Texas is at Kansas State today. So you talk about a tough road trip. For Rodney Terry and his group, that's certainly one.
And if Kansas State can hold serve and beat Texas at home, that will drop Texas to 7-3 in the league standings. And if everything holds the way it is now here in Ames, that would give Iowa State a share of first place in the Big 12 halfway through the regular season. A team that was picked 8th in the preseason.
How about the insanity of the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City?
Last time, it's going to be 10 teams. There's Wilson again. 26 for Jalen Wilson. But that's about the only bright spot for the Kansas Jayhawks. Grill off the mark.
Good challenge by Michael Jankovic, the walk-on who's in the game, who can really shoot it. Look at downhill drive.
Wilson gets fouled. Our college basketball lineup rolls on all afternoon right here on ESPN. At 4 Eastern, number 1 Purdue takes on Indiana. Bob Wischusen, Dick Vitale on the call. Then the greatest rivalry in this sport, and maybe any sport. North Carolina and Duke squaring off at Cameron Indoor. Dan Schulman, Jade Billis will be behind the microphones on that one.
First time since 1961. No Roy Williams, no Coach K, no Dean Smith.
Here's Holmes. What a second half for Jaron Holmes. 15 points. That went off the mark from Lipsy.
I like that he took it.
Yeah.
I like that he took it. He needs to be a little bit more aggressive offensively.
Kansas has won the last 3 games in this building against Iowa State. That streak goes by the boards, as does the overall 7-game Kansas win streak against Iowa State in this their 256th meeting between the Clones and the Hawks. A rivalry that started all the way back in 1908.
How about Bill Self? He'll drop to what, 14-6 as the head coach. This is his 20th year. 0-4 as an Oklahoma State Cowboy. Of course, that'll be a 6th loss today. I've had many talks with Bill Self about this league, and as much as he hates to lose, probably as competitive as there is in the sport, this league has made Kansas better, and Kansas certainly makes this league better because they've been the bully on the block, so to speak. Right. That's figuratively, folks, not literally.
And you said to me the other day, you think it is well within reason that the team that wins the Big 12 will have 5 or maybe 6 losses.
Of course.
Oshuni, a baker's dozen. This loss will drop Kansas to 6-4 in Big 12 play. Shot clock is off, and it's academic. Iowa State remains undefeated inside Hilton Coliseum, 12-0 this year. And TJ Otzelberger and company with their 4th top 10 win in this campaign. Well, now we have our Phillips 66 player of the game, and due to his electric second half, we're going to hand that honor to Jaron Holmes.
Well, didn't score in the first half, but that didn't stop him. He was on fire in the second half, and he's a veteran. He's been in big games before, but making his mark in Ames. And Rich, as I watch these highlights, I think this might not be the last time these two teams meet.
Iowa State improves to 16-6 on the year, and they could have a share of first place in the Big 12, improving to 7-3 courtesy of their 7th Quad 1 win this season. For Fran Fraschilla and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Coming up next, more college basketball. Number 25 Auburn visiting Knoxville, and number 2 Tennessee. That'll do it from us in Ames. Thanks for joining us, and so long from Hilton Coliseum, where the Iowa State Cyclones snap a 2-game losing streak and upset the 8th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks.